You are listening to the It's Your Time podcast, and I'm your host, Certified Life Coach Michelle Arnold Burke. In today's episode, we're discussing the hidden pressure behind high achievement and how to lead without burning out. Welcome to the It's Your Time podcast, the podcast where busy professionals like you get the practical solutions and support you need to gain control of your schedule so you can strive to be the best in your career, but without the stress and overwhelm. If you're looking to increase your energy and decrease your stress, you are in the right place. Hello. Welcome back to the podcast, friends. Okay, as a reminder, January theme, identity, worth, and a new relationship with ambition and success. So I want us to go ahead and just dive right in. I'm so glad that you're here. And I just want to acknowledge that I get it. Sometimes January carries this quiet pressure. It's this collective energy that says, okay, new year, new you, let's go. But here's what I want to say right out of the gate, and it's similar to what I said last week. It's just a reminder. And remember, this is how we learn, right? Repetition. January isn't about becoming someone else. It's about consciously choosing who you're becoming and redefining your relationship with ambition, with pressure, and success along the way. Because if you're listening to this podcast, chances are you're not lacking motivation, you're not lacking discipline, and you're not lacking ambition. What you might be lacking is permission to succeed without self-pressure being the fuel. Again, this month on the podcast, we're focusing on identity, not goals, not resolutions, not hustle plans. Identity. Who you're being while you build the life you want. Now, let's start with defining pressure, because we talk about it constantly, but rarely name it clearly. And I will tell you, I had a coach a couple of years ago who would call me out if I was, babbling on about anything and just question, what exactly does that mean? I have gotten so into the habit of looking up words to really see, what is the story that I'm telling myself? If you find yourself doing this, doing the journaling, just question what some of the words mean that you're even saying, and you'll be surprised. I was shocked, but let's get back to pressure. Pressure is the internal demand that something must happen a certain way or else. Or else what? Or else you'll fall behind, or else you'll disappoint someone, or else you'll lose momentum, or else you'll prove that fear that you have is right. Pressure isn't the same as responsibility. It's not the same as standards, and it's definitely not the same as ambition. Pressure is ambition paired with fear, and your nervous system feels the difference. Pressure sounds like, I should be further along by now. Everyone else seems to have it figured out. I can't slow down. What if I lose my edge? If I don't push, nothing will happen. Now, here's the important part. Pressure doesn't live in your calendar. It lives in your thinking. A lot of times we will tell ourselves that there's so much pressure because of all of the things that you have going on around you, or the job, or the family, whatever your story is. It's not true. You cannot always believe the stories that you tell yourself. Pressure lives in your thinking. And two people can have identical schedules. One feels energized and focused. The other feels overwhelmed and exhausted. Same workload, different internal relationship. That's not a productivity problem. That's an identity and nervous system problem. So let me give you a real life example, because I know this woman well. She wakes up already behind, not because anything happened yet, but because her brain opens 15 tabs at once, maybe 25, depending on the day. Before her feet even hit the floor, she's thinking about the meeting later, the email she didn't send, the workout she should do, the meal she should plan, the version of herself she thinks she's supposed to be by now. So she starts the day in self-pressure and then wonders why she feels tired by 10 a.m. Here's the thing. Nothing has actually gone wrong, but her nervous system is already in that threat mode. And from a neuroscience perspective, this is important. Your brain doesn't distinguish between real danger and perceived pressure. So when your thoughts are constantly saying, I'm behind, I'm late, I need to catch up, I don't have enough time, your body responds as if something is wrong. Your heart rate might start ticking up a couple clicks, muscles tighten, focus is scattered, and then we label that feeling as I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I need to do more. But what you actually need is a new internal rhythm. And this is where cognitive behavioral work becomes so powerful. Pressure isn't caused by circumstances, it's caused by interpretation. And let's break it down simply. Here's the event. You look at your calendar. Here's the thought. This is too much. I shouldn't feel this behind. The feeling is pressure, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's urgency, and then the behavior is overworking, snapping, rushing, pushing yourself even harder. Now, let's change the one thought. Maybe instead, the thought is, this calendar is full, but I can choose how I move through it. Same calendar, different nervous system response. And this is why I say success doesn't start with strategy. It starts with self-leadership. It starts with you deciding who you're going to be and intentionally showing up as her every single day. Pressure thrives when your worth feels conditional, when success feels like proof instead of expression. And so many high-performing women have learned quietly, subtly, over the years, that rest is earned, ease is risky, and slowing down means falling behind. But that belief system eventually collapses under its own weight when you start looking at regulating the nervous system, consciously choosing who you're going to be, and taking actions that align with your future self. And this is the work that I do with clients. We talk about the empowered rhythm method, and I just want to take a moment to give you some context because when I talk about rhythm, it's not like speaking and theory. The empowered rhythm method is the method that I love using with my private clients. It's a performance and mindset coaching framework built specifically for high achieving women who want to succeed without burning themselves out in the process. And it's made up of 4 core pillars: resilient mindset, inner energy, success strategy, and empowered self-trust. And here's what matters most. This is a multi-level individualized process. So we don't work on everything at once. We identify your specific pressure point, that place where ambition has started to feel heavy instead of expansive. And then we work from there first. But when you shift the right thing, everything else levels up. We talk about how you do one thing is how you do all things. So this is an opportunity to be super specific in an area that allows you to expand in the next level of your life. And we liberate what it looks like to be successful, to have the ambition, to be able to do all of it in a way that works for you and you're not burning out. Because ambition rooted in pressure will always cost you more than it gives. And let me just even walk through this idea of this podcast through the 4 pillars. So let's look at resilient mindset. Pressure says, I have to prove myself. A resilient mindset says, I get to decide how I show up. If we're looking at inner energy, pillar number 2, pressure depletes, regulated inner energy sustains. So when your nervous system feels safe, your performance actually improves. If we look at the pillar of success strategy, pressure-based strategy is reactive. Rhythm-based strategy is intentional. You're no longer responding to urgency. You're responding to priorities that you have decided are important. And then when we look at the pillar of empowered self-trust, pressure says, I can't slow down. Self-trust says, I know when to push and when to pause. This is the difference between burning fuel and generating power. And January is the perfect time to practice this, not because it's a new year, but because it is a threshold. It is the opportunity to make the move to the new identity that you are most desiring and being able to define what that means in the most successful way for you. And I want to talk about success for a moment because so often we're chasing the outcome. We're questioning the internal story that we carry about what that outcome means. High performers don't just chase results. They chase relief, they chase validation, maybe freedom, and they chase the moment that they'll finally feel like they can exhale. But here's the reframe. Success isn't about never feeling pressure. Success is about not letting pressure run the show. There is a difference. Success means you can feel urgency and choose intention instead. You can rest without guilt. You can pursue growth without abandoning yourself. I want to say that one again because I think for so many women, us have abandoned ourselves through the years that, again, that's a habit that just seems comfortable, normal, and I just do it without even thinking about it. I want you to think about pursuing growth without abandoning yourself. That's real leadership. That's nervous system regulated ambition. And that's the woman who doesn't just perform, she endures, she expands, and she enjoys. We are in it for the long run. And I want to leave you with a few questions as we close out. And I really encourage you to pause and sit with these, not to answer them perfectly, of course, but to just be honest. Where does pressure show up for you most often? What are you afraid would happen if you didn't push so hard? Who are you becoming when you lead from self-trust instead of urgency? And what would change if success felt safe in your body, not just impressive on paper? You do not need a new you. It's just changing the relationship that you have with the stories you're telling yourself. And this is the work that we do. And if you're ready to get help with it, if you can feel that quiet yes in your body, then I want to personally invite you to Reset to Rise. This is where we take everything that we talked about today and turn it into daily lived experiences. So inside the program, you'll learn how to release pressure without losing performance, regulate your nervous system while leading at a high level, build success from identity, not exhaustion, and create a rhythm that actually supports the life that you want. So it's not about doing more. It's about becoming someone who no longer needs pressure to succeed. And you can find all of the details at michelleburkecoaching.com/reset. Okay, that's what I have for you today. We'll meet back here next week. But until then, lead yourself with intention because it's your time. Make it a great day. Take care. Did you know you can take this work to a deeper level with me one-on-one? Go to michelleburkecoaching.com and click on Get Started to begin.